In London, I'm now joined by Adrian Kennard, who runs the internet service provider Andrews and Arnold Limited. Adrian, well, it's passed, and it was expected to do so, with only the Lib Dems voting against it. So there does seem to be a strong consensus in favour of this.
Well, it's got past this stage. It certainly hasn't got anywhere near being passed yet. It's rather odd that both Labour and SNP seem to have abstained rather than voting against. There was a very good speech by someone from the SNP explaining some of the major issues with this bill as it is now.
And for an internet service provider like yourself, what does this mean, and what are the major issues for you?
Well, there's two major issues from our point of view. One of them is the huge issue of snooping on all of our customers. If we are ordered under this bill to retain data, we don't just retain data we already have. It's not like an itemised phone bill. It's actually collecting data we wouldn't have retained before and somehow storing that safely to allow the police to access it.
For a year? You've got to save that for a year?
Yeah.
Is that physically really within your realms of possibility at this stage with the technology you have?
With enough money, anything's physically possible, but it's still a question of how secure it can be.
Oh, right, that's it. So more money, that means more money for the customer, yes? More expensive internet service providers now?
Well, the bill doesn't really say. It says they'll make a contribution to our costs. If the government paid all our costs in doing this, it wouldn't be more for our customers, but it would be ultimately because taxpayers are paying for it. But it's a lot of work to retain all of this data and a lot of risk that it could be compromised one day.
What do you mean risk? You mean it could actually be hacked? It's not potentially then, well, it's not safe, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, you've seen how, I mean, even the people discussing in Parliament today recognise that anybody can be hacked. We've seen how, government departments, United States government departments as well, have been hacked and data compromised. It's always a possibility that anyone has to consider. If we're holding more personal data in the first place, there's a bigger risk to having that data exposed.
It's a problem, though, isn't it? It's a balance between privacy, of course,
yes,
and also security. Do you think your role, though, as an internet service provider should be taking a part in combating the security challenges of the 21st century? I
think we all support the idea of targeted surveillance. If you've actually got a suspect in a serious crime and there's a judge that's prepared to sign off on intercepting and monitoring that suspect, I don't think anyone's got a problem with this. The problem with this bill is it is expecting every ISP, potentially, to record all of the data that all of you have about everything you do on the internet. And even if you're not a criminal, even if you're not a suspect, just in case you turn out to be one later. And that is mass surveillance, and that is what's concerning everyone.
And what about, it's not just the internet, is it? Also communication providers, the likes of WhatsApp, where they could have this backdoor floor where agencies could actually... So what does this do, actually, in terms of credibility and trust that the customers now have in the likes of your companies?
It's a massive risk. I mean, we also make firewalls and security products, and we used to be proud of saying made in Britain and made in the UK on those products, and now that becomes a badge of concern for anyone because we could be secretly ordered to compromise the security of those products on an ongoing basis. So we're seriously considering moving the production of those products outside the UK to try and circumvent the risk of people perceiving that we might be secretly ordered to break that security.
Adrian, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Adrian Kennard, live here on RT UK.